Okay, so welcome to the call tonight, guys. So tonight we're talking about building momentum. So last week we talked about some stuff you can do to get unstuck, and this week's call we're going to go over, how to build momentum, which kind of goes along with that. So anyway, so we got four points we're going over tonight. I'm going to do the first two, and Brennan's doing the last two. So anyway, so first one on building momentum is to create goals. So when I was Googling some, just looking for fun quotes or whatever about momentum, all of the ones, well, not all the ones, but a lot of the ones that pulled out all had this same quote. And I was like, ooh, what is that? And so it says, one way to keep momentum going is to have constantly greater goals. So I struggle with goal setting. I'm a perfectionist, and I hate setting goals because I feel like if I don't hit the goal, I'm a failure. And it's so hard. And then when that date comes or whatever, I'm reminded that, oh, you didn't do that thing that you were going to do. So, however, there's lots of good reasons why we need to set goals. And one of them is because it helps create momentum. But there's another little thing that kind of goes along with it. That's like if you shoot, whatever it is, shoot for the stars, hit them, or land on the moon or reach the moon. Yeah, no worries, Kaylee. That's good. And that's kind of part of it, right? Like if you weren't reaching for this thing that's way out there, you wouldn't have gotten to where you were, right? If you're pushing super far, then you at least get halfway there. And so that's an important thing to keep in mind for those of you who have a hard time, like I do, with goal setting. And then another part about goal setting is, there's a few little points here I want to make up. But one is to have 3 different levels of your goal. So you have a bare minimum one, okay, I'm going to be super, or one that's safe. Okay, I know I can get at least 1 enrollment this month. I know I can do just the 1. So that's my safe goal. And I'll know that if I can get that 1, that I'm not a complete failure, right? And so that's your minimum goal. This is Tiffany Peterson is where this came from for me. Okay, and then you have a medium goal, like a mid-range, and that's your target goal. And most of the time, that's actually where you end up landing, is your target goal. And then you have an out of this world goal, wow, I would be this amazing rock star if I got 5 enrollments this month. That would be amazing. That would be my out of this world goal. But my target goal is 3, and my minimum goal is 1. So then if you get the 1, you're sweet, okay, I'm not an epic failure because I got my 1. But if I can get my 3, then I know I'm on target. And if I got 5, I'm out of this world. So that's kind of a good way to do it. Brandon and I do that a lot because he likes to set goals that are way high and I think unrealistic sometimes. And because I'm a perfectionist, I like to set the safe, easy goals because then I know that I can reach them and then I'm not missing my perfection. So anyway, and then the last thing about goal setting that I wanted to say is that it's helpful if your goals are measurable and specific. In fact, they have to be measurable. You can't just say I want to do better in my doTERRA business this month, right? Okay, but better how? How are you going to measure that? Or talk to more people about it. It's got to be something super specific. And you guys know this. That's not anything new and amazing, right? So anyway, so just make sure they're specific, measurable, and if you can put it in a time frame, then that helps too. Because if you don't, it doesn't have a deadline, then it's just always in the future and your brain doesn't recognize that it's something that you should be doing now. So let's see. So Stacy said, Oh, my safe goal is to have retail orders, which is awesome because Stacy, you know, you can get those every single month, which is so funny because I don't think I've ever had a retail order. I still get those. And at least one enrollment every month. That's awesome. My medium goal is to get my bonuses every month. And my big goal is to hit elite. I love it. That's awesome. Very, very good. Yay. And I love it because the big goal really is not that far out of reach. Like, you know that it is possible, right? And so is your medium goal. And then you're saying, yeah, I really like that. Yeah. And your safe goal, you know, you can get all are possible. Absolutely. Yeah. I really, really like it. It's good. So anyway, so it's good to have goals. And so we just kind of redid ours. We tried to do ours with some real specific numbers. And then like as far as like bonuses and stuff. And then we tried to do it, tie it to some specific action items, which is what we're going to pull into next. So if you look at what your goals are, and then you kind of have to go backwards, right? And go, okay, if this is my goal I want to reach, what do I need to do to make that happen? Because if your goal is to get enrollments, but all you're doing is continuing education, right? Then you're not going to reach your goal because you're not doing the action items associated with that. Or if your goal is to collect retail orders and all you're doing is working on enrollments, then that's not going to work either, right? So you need to, and some that seems so obvious, but sometimes it's not, right? Like I'll be like, oh, I'm doing this and this and this, but it has nothing to do with my goal. So anyway, so that's really, really good. So Stacy says she really struggles with specific dates. I do too. It's okay. I'm so discouraged if it doesn't happen, and I feel like a failure even though I'm not. Right there with you. Exactly how I feel, which is why I really, really struggle with the date thing too.
It's so funny because, you know, we'll have a discussion and she's like, oh, we didn't hit that goal. And I'm like, yeah, but we got XYZ done and we're that much closer to the goal. And it's hard for Melissa to see that because, dang it, I didn't get the finality of everything we wanted, you know, kind of situation.
Basically what it comes down to is, for me, this is what I've learned. I know I still have more things to learn about this, but here's what I've kind of learned through this so far. I'll pass this on to you and see if it helps. But adding the time thing on it is basically just helping add some motivation and urgency, right? So otherwise, you don't really have that like kick in the pants to get you to do the action items to move towards your goal. Okay, so like for example, I told you guys about my crazy race that I signed up for. I think I did, didn't I? I told them last week. Okay, so I signed up to do this race, this
Warrior Dash.
Warrior Dash. Yes, Stacy said yes. Okay, good. I told you right. I signed up to do it, and I've been saying for weeks, months, years, okay, I'm going to start running again. Well, when am I going to do it? I don't know, someday. But now that I have this deadline, right, I had to start because if I didn't, the deadline was going to come. So I look at it as setting a date for my goals is kind of like setting a deadline for some of my action items. So not that it means that I'm a failure if it doesn't happen. It just gives me a date to work toward to create that motivation and, like I said, a little bit of a sense of urgency. And not that it's urgent or emergency, but just to create that motivation to help keep me moving with the action items.
And you've done every day, right? You've ran every day. So yeah.
Well, not Sunday, but yes.
Well, yes.
So anyway, so that's that for as far as the
action items. the next step in the process, you've gotten that you're taking action and you've got those specific actions that you're going to do, but you need to be persistent at those actions. Just like, you know, the snowball effect, right? How much momentum does it take to get that ball rolling? It's, you know, first you're packing the little snowball and there's nothing really to it, right? And then you're going to push and push and push. And when you've got that big ball there, you have to push very hard to get it rolling down the hill. Once you get it rolling down the hill, it stays, it goes, and, you know, you can leave it kind of situation. But you have to keep going. And it's going to take time. If in the end your goal is you want to be a consistent enroller of 20 people, you're not going to be able to start that goal at that. You're going to have to start the goal at 1 or 2 or 3. And then as you get better at all those aspects, then you can get to 5. And then as you get that every month, then you can start going to 7, 8, 9, and then continue on. So you've got to be persistent in those areas. Otherwise, it's just, you're going to start, you're going to get excited, you're going to go, and then boom, it's gone. So, yeah. And then even once you've got that persistent, you've got it going, you've got everything in the right path, in the right track, you can't let up. You've got to maintain that momentum. I always.
Oh, wait, well, did you say that was number 4? If you're going into number 4,
maintaining
momentum.
Is maintaining.
Can I say something else about number 3 though?
Absolutely.
All right. Okay. So as far as being persistent, a few good books, which I know Stacy you've read, is The Slight Edge. I'm pretty sure you've read it anyway. And Kaylee, if you haven't read The Slight Edge or a book similar to that, that would be, yes, you have read it. Okay. That is a really good read. So, because The Slight Edge, and then somebody else just referred to me and to another book, sounds very similar to it about a month ago, and it's called The Tipping Point, How Little Things Make a Big Difference. And I love that idea of that, right? Because you can't just, like, for instance, have saved, $1,000 in the bank, like instantly, but say you saved $1 every day, right? And then after 1,000 days, you had $1,000. So it's kind of that idea of small little things can equal up to be a great thing. And so that's a really good thing to keep in mind when you're thinking about the being persistent thing, because we're talking about little things here that are very easy to do. But in The Slight Edge, they talk about how there are little things that are so easy to do, but they're also extremely easy not to do. And they're so easy to be missed or to just let go because they're not that big of a deal. But they are that big of a deal when all those little things add up.
Yes.
Now, you said that book was The Tipping Point?
Yeah, it's called, I have it on my cart. I want to get it, but it's called The Tipping Point, and then the subtitle on it is How Little Things Make a Big Difference.
All right, it's going on my to-read list.
It sounded really good. It was actually, my therapist recommended it to me. Because
I'm always looking for something.
And it's by Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah, I found it in Goodreads.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, it looks pretty reasonable. Anyway.
So yes. So on to 4, the maintaining momentum. If you set those goals, if you've taken the actions that you need to do and you've been persistent at it, you're going to see results. You're going to see that snowball start to go down the mountain. You're going to see those kind of things, but you have to keep at it. Can't tell you how many people in this business, they start to get some success and then they think, well, it's just going to continue to grow. It's just going to continue and I can kind of step back a little bit. There's times and seasons in this business. There's times when you can dedicate tons and tons of time to it, and there's times when you have to pull back and do the minimums. But you have to have minimums. You have to have certain things that no matter what you're going to do, and to keep it growing, to keep it flourishing. If you've taken the time to plant your garden, right? You've cultivated the soil, you've put the fertilizer in it, you've done all those kind of things, watered it every day, or not every day, but you've watered it, you've done everything. You can't just stop as soon as you see something green shoot out of the ground, right? You have to actually continue to nourish it, to pull the weeds, to make sure there's no bugs, all those kind of things. Otherwise, the plant's going to die. Your business, it's not going to die, but it's going to lose all the momentum. And then what do you have to do? You have to start back over. You get stuck in that rut. You get stuck on all those kind of things. I love camping. I love fires. I've said it before. But when you're building a primitive fire, you're stuck on the island. You're rubbing the sticks together, right? You have to continue. It takes a lot of effort to be able to get that fire going. That friction that's there, you have to force the friction to get that going hotter and hotter and hotter. You stop that, it goes away. But then once you've actually had enough friction and you're able to start your fire, the last thing in the world you want to do is to have to recreate that again. You want to keep the fire going day and night and keep it going so that every night you have a warm fire to sit next to instead of having to try and start it all over again. So, yeah.
So that's good. So, like I said, none of this stuff is like new, like
earth-shattering
rocket
information.
science. Yeah, but it's stuff that's like good reminders. Like a lot of it is stuff that we've been kind of revisiting, like because obviously we've been a lot in just our bare minimums that we've been doing over the summer while we've been moving and stuff, and now we're getting back into, okay, we've got that bare minimum going. Now what do we need to do to get going again? So anyway, so it's just always good to revisit goals. This is a great time of year to do it, especially, or next month probably by the time
school starts. Well, it's a great time to start it.
Yeah, for sure. And then get going after, like, school starting is always a great time for people to get going with new goals. And then convention too.
I love that the two of those line up.
Yeah, I do too. Well, no, I don't. But so yeah, and Stacey said use the oils in front of people all the time. Yes, and talk about them all the time. I need to work on better invites to classes and follow-ups. Yes, we all do. Yeah. So that is true. It is true to talk about them and use them all the time because it gets people asking, right? Even if you just pull out like your lotion or your lip balm or whatever it is you're doing, it does, people do ask questions. It is really good. It is really good.
I mean, this is the perfect time of the year to get that momentum and keep it rolling. You know, you're going to get convention months, then you're going to start into some things. And I mean, if you've got that momentum rolling and you get into December, which is like doTERRA's massive month, I mean, it's the epicenter of everything, then can you imagine what can happen for your business? Do you imagine the ranks, the enrollments, whatever it is that your goals are? This is the time to start them, to do all these things so that you can reach them. And this is, you're not going to fight summer, you're not going to fight the end of school, you're not going to fight all those kind of things, you know, I'm poor because I spent all my money on Christmas. You're building into the best time. It's the best quarter of the year to be able to take yourself to new heights.
And you're right, Stacey. Yeah, now's the people are more desperate and open for it, right? Because we have what they want. We have answers to staying healthy and staying in school and getting better when you do get sick. So yeah, we have what people want. So anyway, it's good. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. And the other thing with setting goals, I just had this thought too, is to remember, and Stacey, you've gotten so good at this too, is to remember that that we aren't desperate, right? That we get to pick and choose. I've had that come up a couple of times in trainings I've been doing the last couple of weeks about and just how we present stuff to people, right? Keep in mind that we have the cookie, right? And we're just offering to see if they want it. And if they don't want it, it's okay. We'll eat the cookie ourselves or find somebody else who wants it, right? We don't have to. Yeah, it's not. Elise Shedevy taught that once at a class.
Once I got rid of that desperation, things were so much better for me. I've had a much better year this year. I've made a profit every month this year except one. And
awesome.
That was when I bought my retreat tickets. And that's the first month I haven't made a profit this year. And to be able to say that every single month is big for me.
That's awesome.
I'm moving slow, but I'm moving forward.
Yep. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, right? Slow and steady wins the race. Yeah. So
being persistent, like you said, sticking with it even when it's bad.
Yeah.
You know, eventually you start seeing the results, and I've had such a much better year, and I'm having more and more people approach me about it. Had the last couple weeks, last 3 or 4 weeks maybe.
That's awesome.
So many more people coming and talking to me about it and asking me questions, and
that's so awesome because this is the time of year. Like, this is when things really start picking up.
Yep.
So I'd say to everybody, expect great things to happen in the next few months just because of, like you said, the time of year and then convention with changes and stuff that will be coming out. I really do think like great things are going to happen in the next few months just because of
the energy and
Yeah, just
excitement.
everything that's
September's
there.
always a good month, and
Yeah.
December always.
But
And like you
September, October, November are usually quite good too, leading up to it. So, and
Yeah.
then January, it's so funny. January's, things taper off a little bit, but not horribly bad. But summer, I feel like summer's the hardest, definitely, right? Because everybody's kind of in this freedom
Everybody's
mentality.
And those of us with kids, everything shifts in the summer, and
Yeah.
our mindset is so different in the summertime.
Yep. Which is good. We need a break from it, right?
Yep.
But anyway, so it's just good to keep that in mind too, so that you're not like, oh man, the summer, like things were stinking out, like, but just have real expectations, like they were hard for everybody, because it was summer. So, but now, get ready for great things to happen and to make a push if you want in your business. Now is a great time to do it because it goes with the natural course of things. So anyway.
I was listening to Dave Ramsey this morning, and he was saying that, how in January we make all these New Year's resolutions and all these goals and things. He says this time of year is like a second New Year's resolution. We do it a lot less consciously, but this is the time of year that we start resetting again.
I would totally agree with that.
To start, really working on your goals and getting things taken care of, because it's just that time of shift.
Yes, it totally is. I think of that every year when school starts. I think, oh my gosh, this is like everybody's New Year's resolutions. And I was at the playground today, took Lila for a little bit, and there was a group of moms there saying same thing, like, oh yeah, as soon as school starts, I'm gonna, hit the gym, and I'm gonna put in more hours at work, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna get organized, and I'm gonna like have a schedule. And yes, it is easier to do that stuff then because your kids are in school. But it's just funny. It's totally like you said. It's like the magical January 1st when school starts. But I'm not going to lie. I have the same fantasy in my head about it all happening.
We've made all sorts of goals for it.
But it's also a little silly.
You can do it. This race will instill it in you and remind you how much you enjoy it.
I hope so.
It might kill you in the process,
but...
No, it won't kill her because she's got her oils. So,
There you go. You're going to feel
today it was lots of deep blue rubbing on her neck and getting the knot out of there. So,
This is going to be your hiking.
That's right.
That's right.
That's so true.
Kick my butt. This is going to be yours.
And you'll so true, because this has been such a good kick in the pants for me to do things that I'm like, oh. I mean, if you'd told me like 2 weeks ago I was going to do this, I would have like laughed. I would have been like, no way. But here I am, and I can already tell I'm stronger and like more in shape and all that stuff. It's been really, really fun. So yeah, it's good. Our bodies are amazing. They really are.
Yeah. And we are so much stronger than we ever give ourselves credit for.
Oh, heck yeah, we are. Yeah. Yep.
So.
I'm going to stop the recording.
Oh, yeah, stop the recording. Oh, yeah, okay.